Okay, welcome back. Craig, you asked about a potato dish, so I'm gonna make a actual curry potato dish, and this is gonna go in several steps. So this is gonna be the first video. We're obviously not gonna sit here and watch the potato boil. This is how you cook potatoes. Cold water, just enough to cover the potato, and you bring the temperature up slowly. If you boil water and just drop them in, you're going to destroy the lovely texture of it. This way, the starch and the texture will stay intact. It'll cook through gently, and you get your best result. Now, you probably meant to ask me about the standard Idaho russet potato. I don't use that except for gnocchi and for making French fries or chips. That potato has been cultivated as the standard potato because of its ease of storage, not because of any intrinsic value. It is, however, the best potato to make gnocchi with because it's so starchy and fluffy. Those potatoes in there I have peeled, they're actually this, which is a standard white potato. There's a guy at our farmer's market that has 20, 25 types at a time. They're all good for different things. So again, the vegetable, no, it's not technically a vegetable, but the ingredient you choose is going to be based off how you want it to end up. The Yukon Gold potato is really popular nowadays. I think this potato is, I don't know, for me, tastier in stews and soups. We're going to work with that. And that's it. And we'll come back, maybe about 20 minutes when these guys have cooked through and make our curry dish. Thank you. Alright, welcome back. So this is the second part of the video. You can see the potato has been boiled, just a little underdone, and chopped into the size piece that I wanted. These are all the ingredients I'm going to use to make my curry. I don't know a lot about Indian cooking. It is a definite mystery, and they have a lot of different techniques. They ferment batter in ways that other people don't. So I think a lot of Indian home cooks, they have what's called a masala, which is a blend of spices in a reduced form of your normal curry, which could be 26 or 48 or even more ingredients. Personally, I don't like that many flavors, so I'm going to create. Most people with Indian curries is just turmeric, which is the yellow. It's a rhizome. It's the same as ginger. So I'm going to create this in the pan. I don't know. They boil it down for hours. This is going to work, and it's going to give you a really brothy, delicious result. The potato is going to provide its own starch. I saved the potato water, and a key ingredient in the style of curry that I'm going to make is this lovely Thai coconut milk. It's delicious, fatty, and it's just amazing. We also have jalapeno, ginger, celery. I've sliced the celery very thin, and you're going to see I'm going to use the oil to toast the spices, and then I'm going to coat most of the vegetables with that oil to infuse them with flavor before we build the broth around it. This here is the stems of the cilantro, and I'm going to also use the oil to bloom that, and that's a good technique is blooming your spices. It'll open them up, and then later on we'll use the regular cilantro to freshen the broth toward the end, as well as some lime zest. These are things that go in toward the end. Generally, you don't cook with herbs in the beginning because you just boil the flavor away. Okay, so let's start. This is actually a spot that I will use coconut oil because it's going to give it a nice fatty result. Jalapeno. Ginger that's been smashed, because I'm going to allow the broth to absorb it, and it's going to provide this extra aromatic. Some ginger powder right into the oil. Mustard seed. This will pop a little bit, so you got to watch out. Turmeric. Like I said, this is definitely not traditional Indian cooking, but it does work. A little paprika. Last little bit of cayenne pepper that I have. This is a place I don't use chili oil actually because it's a little smokier than I want as a flavoring. Black pepper. And that's actually enough. That will give you a pretty decent curry. Olive oil. How do you know for the proportions? I don't know. Experience, you kind of intuit it. Too much turmeric will make it bitter. Not enough won't make it yellow. The mustard seed's really the key, actually. Some people grind it, I don't. So at this point I'm starting to get popping. I'm going to add the celery to build the base of the broth and to slow down the reaction a little bit. This works with celery root too. I think a lot of like French soups are built around sweated onion and celery root, and they cook down, and then you have the base of your vichyssoise or whatever comes after. So as I do this with the vegetables, salt at this point, they're going to absorb this flavor. And it's going to bloom more and more as we go into the broth. Cilantro stems. Slowly. You can always add more, can't take it away. And also your vegetables are going to produce water. That's the really good water. That's water that has flavor and minerals and nutrients. Carrots in. The carrots are uncooked because they're going to cook in the curry. And you don't want to lose the sweetness of the carrot to boiling it somewhere else, or frying it somewhere else, or roasting it somewhere else. You want it all to blend and harmonize together. This is the broccoli stem. The broccoli is going to be one of the last things to go in. It's going to cook very quickly once we have our broth. The trick with this is going to be balancing water and coconut milk. So add them in proportion and slowly. Salt. As we do this, it's going to start to resemble, the curry that everyone is used to seeing. This is going to be where your balancing act comes in of the 5 flavors. Coconut milk is sweet, it's delicious, but you're going to need to have enough salt to balance it. The toasted turmeric will provide some level of bitterness. Jalapeno is spicy. And it's going to be a nice blend. Feel like you didn't add enough turmeric, which again, it's not the best time to do it, but it's better than tofu because it's so yummy. You could obviously do this with any type of protein that was already to the point where you wanted it. At this point, I'm going to let it get hot and start tasting. Why? Because the next ingredients I'm going to add, either the broccoli or the potato, they need to, everything that happens after that needs to happen more quickly. So my timing becomes more important. This can sit for an hour. The tofu is not going to degrade. The carrots are just going to get soft. Everything's going to blend together. But after this, the ingredients have more critical timing. Wow. It's really good. If you do it right, you should only have to adjust the seasoning a little bit. And this just needs a little salt. Little. And keep in mind you're going somewhere else with this too. You're adding, we're going to add lime zest and more cilantro. So these are going to bring out other flavors later on. So it's not different than chess or jits. You're planning 8 steps ahead in terms of flavor and in terms of the result of each of your ingredients. Celery is really an underused vegetable in America, and it's because it has such a strong flavor. The texture is amazing, and it provides a wonderful base for stews. It's all in how you cut it and how you prepare it after that. So we're doing good. This is going well. So, time for potato. And you can no longer smash your dish. Everything at this point has to be gentle, or you're gonna hurt your lovingly stewed potatoes, or blanched. And you can see the curry is actually developing some thickness. The starch from the potato is doing it. So we can use starch in the Chinese way that they use it, but you probably won't need it. The broccoli is something you add, seconds before you're done. Amazing. So good. We're basically done. I personally don't think it needs any starch. That's really up to you in terms of taste. So we're going to finish it off. Broccoli. This is a great vegetable for stewy and saucy things because it just, all that sauce sticks in the crown. Craig, you asked about the potato. In Asia, they use it as an ingredient. They don't eat it by itself. So, I could use this in another type of dish too, but it would be used in this type of form. Everybody knows how to roast it. Obviously, French fries and potato chips. Lime zest. Super aromatic, super oily and delicious. Cilantro, also a matter of preference, but it's a very healing, cleaning vegetable. It's good for the kidney and the liver. Not necessarily the ideal pan to do this in, but it's all I have at the moment, so that's what we're doing. And you can see the broccoli has changed to that lovely iridescent color. Pretty much done. Garnishing. Cooking is science, for sure. It's also art. And I'm sure there's scientific studies that say food that looks beautiful tastes better. You eat with all your senses, so you don't have to be over dramatic. And don't use non-functional garnish, NFG. It's kind of a faux pas. You should be able to eat everything on the plate. The trick is being creative in how you do it. And so that you create a contrast, you highlight something, or you create different layers and textures and height without compromising your dish. Okay, so we're done. For this. So how I like to garnish this guy? That later. Is the actual coconut milk and cilantro. See how beautiful the potatoes are? They're going to be delicious. Salty, curry flavor, just permeating every vegetable. Create a little contrast. Cilantro.